The play on the field, the courts, and the ice is just one part of sports. Behind every game are the people hard at work so we can enjoy the action. They're the owners, administrators, agents, broadcasters, and promoters who bring the games to life. Meet them when you go behind the game with Patrick Klinger and Bill Robertson. Welcome to Behind the Game. I'm Patrick Klinger, president of Agile Marketing Partners. With me, as always, the commissioner of the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, at least for another week or two, before he transitions into his new job as the commissioner of the United States Hockey League, the Hall of Famer, Bill Robertson. Billy, you're looking dapper today.
Thank you, Patrick. Always for Behind the Game, you have to be.
That's a sharp shirt.
Thank you.
Is it in honor of the U.S. Open going on today?
Absolutely. Why not?
Hey, we have had some really tremendous guests on Behind the Game over the years, but perhaps none more compelling than today's guest. He's a husband. He's the father of two. He's a former professional baseball player. He's a business entrepreneur. He's a businessman. He's Todd Blyleven. Todd, welcome to Behind the Game.
Hey, thank you so much for having me be here. It's really, truly an honor to be speaking with you, somebody that I hold highly, and it's just an honor. So, and Bill, it's a pleasure to meet you, and congratulations on all your endeavors. I mean, especially your new one coming up here. Really exciting.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you, Todd, today. I know your dad very well, and he's always been great to me over the years when I was at the Angels and in the Twin Cities sports community. But you have a great story. So we're lucky to have you today and appreciate you giving us the time. I know you're a busy man, so we'll get right to the questions. And thanks for being on Behind the Game.
Thank you.
Hey, Todd, you're a former professional baseball player, but you've transitioned from the field. You went to become a scout for a little while, and now you're in the business of sports. Tell us a little bit about some of the endeavors that you're involved in today.
So today, I currently own a sports technology and development company called the Scout Hub, that where we provide evaluation software and registration platforms for large tournament national organizations, for them to use the scouting and evaluation software in baseball. Softball will be launching in football and golf here this next week, which then produces online player pages for those athletes after they attend a showcase or a combine event. So those parents end up getting something in hand or on the computer where it shows their evaluation from the company they just spent a lot of money with, evaluating their kids. And then those players can use those evaluation tools as an exposure tool to help them get recruited, help them develop in their game, share with their team coaches, along with us also providing software to private coaches in the indoor training or outdoor facilities, team, high school coaches, where they can evaluate their athletes at the flick of buttons and be able to provide their athletes and families with some really amazing tools that just keep everybody communicative. I think that's the one piece that me as a dad, I've got a 17-year-old son. In fact, I'm in Oklahoma today as he's playing in a tournament that as an aspiring athlete wants to play in college. And, when you take him to some private instructors and you're paying good money to have these, really good instructors work with your kids, a lot of times the parents are left in the dark. So those dinner table conversations are, hey, how'd you do? And you're trying to extract information, where our software is extremely affordable, and it allows the coaches to provide these, descriptions, evaluations to these players to help them get better, and it keeps the parents happy, which is an A+. So I also work with Pocket Radar. So I've been a student of today's sports analytics over the last 5 years, and Pocket Radar is a speed measurement company that launched about 10 years ago in the radar space. And they're just doing a great job in all sports. They're diving into hockey, Bill. They're already kind of organically in it, but we're doing some more there. So it's really exciting to be around, forward-thinking entrepreneurs, business people that really push you to the limit. And I'm I've been down a crazy hard road to get to where I'm at today. And it's come with a lot of work, a lot of tears, a lot of heartache. And now, there's a lot of smiles. So I'm really happy, very fortunate, very blessed to be here. Yeah.
Todd, were you always a techie type person growing up and all that? Or is that something you acquired, or is that other people helping you with that?
I no way was a techie person at all. So my dad growing up in the Major League Baseball world, I got a chance to follow my dad around and obviously learn from some of the best athletes, sports professionals in the world that learned how to deal with failure most of their career and learn how to ride the tide when they had success. So learning how to fight for what you want, I took that into my childhood, but I was more that kid that would put on my fatigues and go play Army in the hills, or I was playing basketball, whatever it was, get me outdoors, let me try to jump off the highest jump on my bike and fall and get back up and try it again. But when I got into the corporate space after my playing days and my scouting days were done, I learned really quickly that I needed to learn how to use a computer. And a funny story, and I'll keep it short, but my first job was with Skills, a big training brand out of Carlsbad, California. When you go into a Dick's Sporting Goods, you see the black and yellow boxes, anything you can imagine training-wise, nets, tees they make. And so they brought me in to help revamp their baseball category space. So I tested all my baseball products. They had over 100. I brought Tom Brunansky in that lived in Poway at the time. So Bruno and I was watching him hit off the tee. We were talking about the ins and outs of things, rewriting the packaging and all these pieces. So I got done after about 6 weeks, and the CEO and business development director said, all right, we want you to give a presentation on Monday. And I've got everything in paper because I've been writing it all down on sheets. And he says, okay, but you know how to put an Excel spreadsheet together, right? And I said, yes, of course I do. I had no clue how to put an Excel spreadsheet together. And when I was scouting, it was all done for me. So I just opened the computer. There's the report. I punch in what I saw on the player, and that was it. So, I spent about 48 hours watching videos. Thank God YouTube was around, and there were a lot of people that gave back, and I was able to put a killer presentation together, and obviously kept my job, which was really important at the time, or any time. But I learned a lot on YouTube. I grew up with my dad's mentality of you never know everything. And, you got to fight for what you want, and always appreciate those that are willing to give back to you. And I had a tremendous amount of people. They probably don't know it, but they gave me so much. And I'm here where I'm at today because of each lesson that I was taught. So.
Todd, you mentioned your dad a couple of times. The Blyleven name is very well known in baseball, especially here in Minnesota. Your dad, Bert, is a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer. You became a player in the minor leagues yourself. Tell me, what are some of the pluses and minuses of being the son of such an accomplished professional baseball player?
It wasn't, I think everybody might think, oh, you were privileged, it was easy, you had everything handed to you. But really, in reality, I didn't. I was always compared to my dad. There was always, whether I just struck a kid out my senior year throwing 92, and, the kid's walking back to the dugout, and all of a sudden I hear someone say, oh, that's Bert Blyleven's kid. And I, this feeling of, no, hold on, Todd Blyleven just struck you out. Todd Blyleven's throwing a shutout right now. So, look at me. But it's not to compare or, I'm extremely proud of what my dad did on the field and how he was off the field with everything that he gave back to in the community. And he's just a good guy. And so I learned a lot of life lessons there. But it was really difficult, even running through my minor league careers. I think there was an expectation with me right away because my dad was a quick trip guy to the big leagues. I grew up at the big league level. I wasn't prepared mentally to go through the minor league system, and I didn't have a backup plan. I had zero backup plan on what I was going to be doing if baseball didn't work. And I think that's where when I got done, that's where it really smacked me in the face, and a lot of depression came into play. Uh, I didn't know really, I couldn't, a lot of trying to find myself, a lot of odds and ends. And then thankfully I met my wife, a girlfriend at the time, and she got me back involved in baseball, called Tim Mead with the Angels. And they got me a tour over at the scouting bureau, and the rest is history. So, but no, a lot of expectations, but I was really proud of my dad, so it didn't bother me too much.
Well, another piece, Todd, of the Blyleven family is your son, Dylan, who I'm told is a gifted player like you and like your father. Does he have the talent to follow in your footsteps and those of your grandfather into Major League Baseball, in your opinion?
So in my opinion, and I really try to separate the dad from the Major League scout that I was for 8 years. Like, I think, number one, my dad and I always joke, we finally have a hitter in the Blyleven family. So he can really hit. He's since 2, he's been a switch hitter. My wife's left-handed. He's ambidextrous. He shoots a basketball left-handed. He's just a truly gifted athlete. He's a great kid, a young man. He's 17, but he loves baseball, and he can really play it. So he can play a third base. He's got reaction. He's got instincts. Everything you would look for in an athlete at this age right now. I think he's maturing into becoming a professional player one day. I feel he definitely has the ability to play pro ball one day for sure. So, in fact, last weekend he hit a home run, had 2 doubles, a triple, in a really good tournament. Just now he's 3 for 3. Just got an update. He had another single as we're talking. So, I just love watching him play. He plays with his hair on fire, and we're looking for a good college right now that's going to appreciate his ability and just him as a person, because he's got so many gifted talents as a human being. He's got a big old heart, and I just love him to death. So, yeah.
Hey, Todd, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about something much more serious than baseball. On October 1st, 2017, you were at the Route 91 Harvest Festival, Music Festival at Mandalay Bay. And you were there with your wife and some friends. And then suddenly, with Jason Aldean on stage, shots started raining down from the 32nd floor of the hotel. And when the shooting stopped, 60 people had been killed, over 800 had been wounded or injured in some capacity. You were a hero that night in every sense of the word. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, it's never an easy one to talk about, obviously, but I think it's good to talk about in a way that, in the end, so much love across the world was poured into not only a community in Nevada, but globally, because everybody that was affected. There were 58 victims that fell that night, and when all of a sudden you're going from dancing with a group of people and not a care in the world and so much love and joy, and you're listening to, at the time was my favorite country artist and still is. It wasn't Jason Aldean's fault, but through PTSD you end up going through some things that you have to fight back to re-listen to things that make you uncomfortable, and he's been a huge part of my therapy through that with my wife. But all of a sudden you go from dancing and having fun to people are falling around you, and it was truly a moment of fright. You're scared, you're confused, you don't know what's going on, you don't know where it's coming from, and it all happens at the click of a snap. And I was lucky enough to where I identified where the shooting was coming from and knew I needed to get my family out as quickly as possible, because it was coming from an elevated position and we had no coverage. And so 2 people behind us, one to my left and another to my right, fell. So we were directly in the line of that first round of fire. And when I got my wife and my brother-in-law and his wife out of the venue. Thank God, I was able to get them away from the shooting, and I ended up being able to help a man carry a victim out while the shooting was going on still, early in the shooting barrage. And I just knew right away that I needed to go back. There was something that pulled and tugged me, and I knew that my wife was going to be okay. I sent her away from everything with my brother-in-law, and I ran back in towards the rain of fire. And there, in the very beginning of this, I remember helping a woman out. I was probably one of the first ones to go back in. There weren't many people on the actual street itself that people were, then ended up becoming just a mass victim just area where the medical personnel and everybody was carried to. But I was able to get a woman there. And then as I was running back in, I got stopped by another woman that was a nurse, and she, asked for help. And I said, ma'am, you need to, see if you can put your hands on those people there. I'm sorry, I get a little nervous in talking about this, but the end result of it was I went in probably 30, 40 times in and out during fire. I was shot at. I carried out, probably close to 30 people over my shoulder or in my arms. 3 of the women did not make it. And I remember one in specific that, passed away in my arms that night. And, just a really hard thing to deal with. But, the aftermath was all of a sudden, 8 hours went on, and there were a lot of people that came out from their hiding space and came back to help, which I thought was really amazing.
Going back to that night when I was carrying all those people out, and obviously a lot of life was being lost, something I've never experienced, thank God, and hopefully, never have to again. Every time that I got back up after carrying somebody out, there were more people that came back and that were helping me through that endeavor. And, the aftermath of it, after about 8 hours of going through that, we thought we were under attack. So nobody knew that it was an isolated deal. You thought the whole strip was under attack. We heard rumors of all types of explosive devices and different shooters up and down. Anyways, all I wanted to do was get back to my wife. That's it. And she was about 50 yards north of my location. I had 1% battery left, on my phone, and I was able to track her down and find her. And, it really resets your entire existence and what your meaning of life is. And all for the better. I now take each step that I walk with more purpose, with more love in my heart. The small things in life that used to weigh me down, that I would, get surrounded by drama with, it doesn't happen. It's just, you really, really appreciate where you're at. And I am so thankful that, people took a stand when they felt they were safe to come back and help that night, because, 858 people were injured, shot, trampled over, needed assistance. 58 lives were lost. And I was truly blessed. I was not shot or injured, but I certainly, was very thankful to be there, and I do it over again to help other people.
Hey, Todd, we unfortunately have come to the end of our show. I wish I could be there in person to shake your hand and say thank you, but I'm going to give you a virtual handshake and hug. Really, really appreciate you joining Behind the Game today. We're going to talk again soon. Billy Robb, always great to see you, my friend. See you on the link soon.
Yes.
And thank all of you for watching Behind the Game. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.